Up next, it's not too early to begin thinking about spring. Coming into the winter months, kind of have to do that from time to time. Spring is the time when prescribed burning of pastures and CRP land tends to occur. We're able to catch up with Extension Educator Jerry Volesky at this year's Husker Harvest Days to get some of his advice when it comes to planning and executing prescribed burning on your property. Market Journal's Mike Straub has this story.
A collaborative adaptive management program has put together an advisory committee helping with different decisions regarding prescribed burns. The primary objective to most prescribed burns in Nebraska is to control eastern red cedar trees.
For the research at the Barter Brothers Ranch, it began a year ago, and it's called a collaborative adaptive management program. And with that type of project, we have an advisory committee that is going to help or is helping us with the different decisions related to that research. And one of the things or issues that was brought up was the cedar trees in that area. And of course we know that a prescribed fire is a good way to control those cedar trees. And so we did put that as part of the project where we do each spring a prescribed burn in a different pasture with that objective of controlling cedar trees. But then we are also still grazing that same pasture that was burned that year and collecting a variety of data related to the production that we see, the changes in species composition, the livestock performance. We have yearling cattle that are grazing these pastures.
Prescribed burns can improve grass stands, reduce annual grassy broadleaf weeds, and improve forage quality. Grazing a recently burned pasture is beneficial to the daily gain of cattle.
Last year, for example, the cattle that were grazing the pastures that had been burned, prescribed burning, their overall daily gain was higher than a control group that grazed pastures that were not prescribed burn. And really the reasoning behind that is that when a prescribed burn is conducted, the grass that comes back is generally a little bit higher in quality, and in particular, you're not dealing with the older previous year's growth or residue that's out there. So it's a win-win or a benefit in that sense too, not only from the cattle gain side of things, but as well as the control of the eastern red cedar trees.
Eastern red cedar trees are quick to encroach on our pastures and grasslands. Getting a head start and being proactive is the best method for controlling these invasive trees.
So with the cedar trees, the eastern red cedar, a common thing that we see throughout, especially central and eastern Nebraska, is how quickly they're encroaching and taking over our pasture lands. And ideally, a producer or landowner, he's going to be proactive and try to take care of that problem early before those trees get too big, too tall, and too many of them. And so that's one of the other things we try to emphasize when it comes to that eastern red cedar tree control is to be early and proactive, and don't wait too long before you start to try to do some control.
Safe and controlled prescribed burns take preparation, planning, and understanding of how fire reacts in certain weather conditions. Many times, the preparation will begin a year in advance.
When people do a prescribed burn, one of the things that comes into play is that it does take a lot of planning. You want to make sure that you've done some prep work ahead of time, and that might include some mowing around the perimeter of the pasture that you're going to burn. The weather conditions have to be within a prescription to safely conduct that prescribed burn. So with the prescription, what we're looking for is the correct wind direction for the burn plan that was put together. The wind speed, of course, as you would expect, is very important. Relative humidity, there's certain levels or thresholds where if the relative humidity starts dropping too low, you're going to become out of prescription and it could be dangerous. So if you stay within the prescription that's laid out for a safe prescribed burn, things should go well.
Nebraska Extension, as well as other entities across the state, give several resources to reach out to if you're interested in conducting a prescribed burn on your land.
There's a number of, not only Extension, but a number of different agencies, both agencies like the Natural Resources Conservation Service, but there's also some, we call them NGOs. These are organizations like Pheasants Forever, Sandhills Task Force. A lot of the natural resource districts are also providing some support and guidance when it comes to doing a prescribed burn on a landowner's place.
If you're having an issue with invasive eastern red cedar trees or want to improve forage for grazing, a prescribed burn might be beneficial to your area. Contact the many resources available by the Collaborative Adaptive Management Program for information. Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Mike Straub.